Are you gonna video me?
Yeah, actually I am.
Oh, okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, you're Sherry, right?
I'm Sherry.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so thank you for taking the time, and I appreciate that you agreed to not have a slant with this and try and get the facts. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would never write something with a slant. That's never my intention. So just really quick, I wanted to ask about 51st State. You said you're not the first person to introduce that.
No.
I thought maybe you could give me a little bit of background.
Yeah, absolutely. There are actually maps that go back, I think, to 1865 that show what was then called Washington Territory, which included quite a bit of this.
Okay.
The sentiment has been around since the early 1900s, kind of in the modern sense. The modern movement itself actually took root in the 1980s with predominantly with Bob Morgan, Joel Kretz, and several other. Joel Kretz still in the legislature. So it really kind of took root there. And the idea, interestingly enough, was kind of highlighted in a New York Times article on the historical roots of people groups, and it had it divided at the Cascade Mountains. This is actually in the New York Times. This year.
Oh, okay.
It was this year,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And it talked about the migration of the Scots-Irish freed slaves. It talked about the migration of folks that wanted to establish a ranching and farming and came over here, and that the divide really was between eastern Washington and western Washington. We know it, eastern Oregon, western Oregon, part of California, northern California. And it's interesting today that those are the areas where there are these ideas there. State of Jefferson, since California's mirrored those companies. So I found that kind of fascinating. But the bottom line for a lot of us is that downtown Seattle just does not represent the values, traditions, culture, beliefs of those folks in Eastern Washington, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, if we split, they would have better representation of their values as well, right? And I think that's kind of the key point behind all of this. The Founding Fathers left us this ability in the Constitution, Article 4, Section 3, to do this, to make sure that government was representing people to the best possible. And so, downtown Seattle comes out with a carbon tax increase, or a sugar tax, or property tax increases, or an employee head tax, or I mean, it's and. A lot of folks over here are having a hard time getting by. They don't need more tax increases. Downtown Seattle comes out with the idea in regards to law enforcement, and I think it was I-41, if I recall correctly, and this idea that that they can interject themselves in really the split-second decision-making process of law enforcement. Those aren't the values in Eastern Washington. We talk about gun control and property rights. I'll talk gun control first. People over here understand that the right to bear arms is very important. We have a rich culture of hunting over here, but more importantly, we have a rich culture that understands that the Second Amendment, as was told in the Supreme Court decision in Heller, exists to prevent the rise of tyranny. And that's kind of core to a lot of people's beliefs, and it's also core to Scots and Irish belief, because that's exactly what the British did to the Scots and also the Irish when they came in and tried to disarm them. So this runs very, very deep. So I don't think
it's not the first time that you introduced it, right?
No, it's not. We've been introducing it for years.
Does it feel like maybe now is a good time when people are maybe more open to the idea?
Huge. There's a lot of traction now, and really the traction started with these ideas coming out of again, downtown Seattle in regards to water rights in the Hearst decision. We believe in water rights, first in time, first in right, and water is important, obviously, to the agricultural traditions of our area, and so there's a huge split over that and how to use water too. That really helped to gain a ton of traction on top of the tax increases and this huge push on gun control as well.
Great. And then I just asked about cows, and you said that was a totally separate issue. So what's the status of cows right now? Are you guys actively running them?
The Coalition Western States, was involved in the Hammond Department, also involved in.
Oh, you guys were involved in the Hammond Department?
Absolutely.
What was the role?
Well, several legislators talking to their congressional delegations throughout the Western States to push that forward. We were also involved in legislation and laws to protect our ranchers as well and afford them some more due process, because that's really what this is about. This arose in the 1980s. People had been on their property for generations, and all of a sudden nothing had changed. Their use was still good. They were being very good conservators of the land, stewards of the land, and suddenly they're going to lose their land. And that's another big point of contention between Spokane and Eastern Washington and the proposed state of liberty in downtown Seattle. So the Coalition of Western States was involved in those things, and really Liberty State encompasses far more, and was already the idea that came up because of these continual splits on these issues. And again, I really believe this would better represent both sides of the mountain, and the Founding Fathers left us that ability very clearly.
Is it getting traction? I mean, in the State House,
Sure.
Do you feel like you're getting other legislators?
Yeah, there's other legislators that have been supportive. You know, the traction I'm seeing, where there's several polling numbers that have been out there. You're running between 73 and 75% support in Eastern Washington for it, depending on where you're at.
Wow.
Most of the rallies we go to are very, very well attended. I have an entire presentation online. We've done the kind of the busting of the myths of some of these things, that it wouldn't be affordable to do this. We would somehow be the poorest state in the union, and going through all of the agricultural resources that we have, the fact that we have huge amounts of cheap power here. In fact, we supply 10 states with power, actually maybe 11 now. The fact that we have rich agricultural traditions, we have manufacturing here in Eastern Washington, and the numbers prove that this is not only viable, that we would be one of the more prosperous states in the country. We ran the budget numbers. Eastern Washington has about the same size population and budget as the entire state of Idaho, and so we have a firm number that we would run, that we can run things by, and the revenues, existing revenues, if nothing changed, are very comparable. So it is doable, and I think that's why a lot of people are getting behind it. And right now we're talking to county commissioners about their support too, and local counties. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we need to make that lunch.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I were to have other questions, is there a good phone or email, or I didn't know if you had a staffer that I should contact?
Well, I mean, I'm open
just
to talk.
follow-ups if I'm,
Yeah, I mean, you can contact me on my my campaign website. It's probably the easiest. Yeah,
okay,
it's Matt@Shea.com. Yeah. If you have any other questions now, I'm more than happy to answer them. So.
I mean, I'm good right now, I think. Actually, no, let's talk about Marble Country. That was the other thing I brought up, that you said there's a lot of misconceptions about that.
Well, huge.
Tell me what some of those that you're
Well, huge. I mean, you have people come out, and this is why I think there's such consternation with the local media right now.
Yeah.
And, I was very clear on the fact that, these innuendos and implications and, trying to tie people together, this guilt by association stuff just isn't, it's not our American thing. We owe everybody due process and diligence on facts. The fact of the matter is, there are 2 black pastors that live up there at Marble. There's several members of the locally, federally recognized Indian tribe that live there on Marble. And not only that, are members of the leadership of Marble Country Fellowship. So it's very hard to say when you have a pastor who's black that is part of the Marble Country Fellowship to then make the jump that they're somehow racist. That doesn't even make sense on its face. And the people that know those folks, really looked at what happened the other day as not just absurd, but offensive. I will also tell you personally, my wife is from Ukraine. I've been able to, by the grace of God, get some folks over here from Iraq, through Syria.
But after your service,
After service, because made them the promise. They served with us, they did great, and they and helped us in some pretty dire circumstances to get them over here. And they're looking at this and saying, that's quite the leap, because they have a rich ethnic background. In particular, my wife and her family were persecuted for being Christians in the former Soviet Union. Sister-in-law was actually put into labor camps twice and broken out. So they come here to America because we want free speech, but you also want to hear the truth. The fact of the matter is that some very simple investigation, into the leadership of Marble Country, or just who people's family are, should have put that to bed, and instead it ends up in the media as a smear campaign. Oh, by the way, in an election year, right during the primary. That really.
Ozzy brought this up this week, and that was part of why I wanted to ask you about it. It sounded like he was making a lot of these connections. But you say.
Well, I mean, just look at it. It's just completely unfounded, and you know, again, people saying he said, she said is one thing, but actually looking at the leadership structure, it's up there at Marble Country, actually looking at who they're helping in the community, the people that live there on Marble, including a black reverend who came out of Chicago. It just doesn't fly. It doesn't wash. And so I'd rather look at people's actions, look at the structure of things, than listen to the smears that are coming from a small group of people, including one person who was a vanquished political foe that lost in the state senate and has been bitter ever since.
Yep, exactly. It's hard to look up.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry to hold you guys up.
No problem. We still
Can
good?
I ask your name?
Leah.
Leah, and you're with?
I'm a freelance reporter. We saw each other in Bundy Court.
There you go. I knew you. Everybody say hi. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we are finishing up at the Spokane rally. That was Matt Shea being interviewed by a reporter, and we are just holding everybody accountable. So y'all have a good day, and we will talk again soon.